Welcome to Portfolio Stories, Science and Success, a podcast where we explore inspiring journeys, groundbreaking research, and the people shaping the future of science.
Hello everyone, welcome to Portfolio Stories, Science and Success, the podcast where we discuss science research and ideas. This podcast is initiative of Łukasiewicz Port, bring out by researcher for researchers. And for today's episode, I'm your host, Ila Joshi. I am doing my PhD in Synaptogenesis group. With me today, we have our guest, Dr. Przemysław Duda. He is also from Synaptogenesis group. He is postdoc in my lab. Shremek is a neuroscientist, biologist, physicist, fiction writer. He has a lot of many interests. We will dive into his journey today. So let's welcome Shremek. So I have my very first question to you. You have a background combining medicines and research. How does both come together for you in your life?
In my life, no idea. At work, however, it works pretty good altogether. The whole story began quite long ago, during my studies. At the very beginning, I was studying microbiology. So basically, my BSc is in microbiology. After that, I switched to neuroscience during my MSc. And let's call it in the meantime, I also studied the medical studies, which was quite a challenging adventure. However, I succeeded, fortunately. I decided to study medicine because I started with biology, right? This was my hobby, and I was very interested in it all the time, my entire life. And I decided to go also into medicine only because I thought that I should know a little bit more about the human biology. So there is no better opportunity to know human biology than to study medicine, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was a very good idea because right now, I know quite a lot of the physicians, my colleagues from the university, for example. Sometimes they are lacking knowledge, this basic biological knowledge, which simply helps to understand different physiological, pathophysiological conditions within the, in this case, within human body, right? But even now, during the scientific work, it also helps because, we are studying the brain, right?
Yeah.
So all of these connections, etc., different brain region talking to each other, it also needs to have some biological and medical background as well. So basically, it works together really, really nicely.
You mentioned about brain, and your interest lies majorly in understanding molecular aspect of memory and learning. I suppose, it is fascinating for sure. But what is more exciting for you here? How do you see it in terms of research?
So, well, my entire career started with hippocampus, right? Because both during my MSc and during my PhD, I was studying the long-term potentiation process within the hippocampus. So this is basically a process related to consolidation of short-term memory to long-term memory.
Yeah.
So this is the most general description, and let's leave it this way. It was quite fascinating for me because we were performing these studies in relation to a gene, a protein, which is quite evolutionary old and conserved. And the function of this protein was really well known within the other tissue types than brain, than nervous tissue. It was well known in muscle, it was well known function in liver. But for some reason, this gene was expressed also in neurons, in hippocampal neurons. And now it raises the question, why is that so? Why the protein is within this structure? And, we discovered that it is the protein was indispensable for the process of consolidation of memory, for the long-term potentiation. So this is the process which strengthens the connection between neurons, strengthens the synapses. And basically this is how the consolidation performs, right? because during this process there is a big calcium ions influx into the cell, and it stresses the mitochondria. And this protein I was studying was binding to mitochondria and protect them against swelling caused by calcium ions influx. So one protein of well-known function, however, performing absolutely another type of function in different organ, in different cell types. Here at Port, we are doing quite a similar experiments, right? Because we are basically studying a gene and the proteins, which functions are basically known, okay? They are known in cancer cells, they are known in epithelial cells, in tight junction between these are the connections between the cells, but they are expressed also in the brain. And now we are establishing why the protein is needed within the neuron, because if there is the expression of this gene, it's for something, right? Yeah. So we are trying to determine what the process is which engages the protein. So what was the question?
So the question was, what fascinates you?
All of it. All of it, because the brain is so much complicated.
Yes.
To be honest, we know really a lot about brain, right? There are thousands of books, right, about the brain functioning, etc. But still, on the other hand, there are a lot of, let's call it, white spots when we know absolutely nothing. And for example, the gene we are studying right now, you and me, that this is one of these white spots, right? We know that something is present somewhere, but we don't know why, what for. So the process of discovering is fascinating, especially within the brain, which is, the most mysterious, let's say, organ within not only human body, in the body, right?
Yeah, that's true. You said it very well. Speaking of your present work, which briefly you already mentioned, by the way, congratulations, you have received the NCN Sonata grant. For those who are watching us outside Poland, NCN Sonata is one of the prestigious grants for postdocs, and Przemek has recently received it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you like to briefly tell us about your work? What will you be working on?
Sure.
You did mention that you have, briefly, that we both are working on certain kind of gene, which is also very mysterious.
In some ways, yes, it is.
So what will you be doing on this project specifically?
So this particular project focuses on the ventral part of the hippocampus. So hippocampus again, it's ventral part. In mice, in human, it's called the anterior part, because this structure is shaped a little bit different in human and in mice. And within the ventral hippocampus, we will be trying to determine the pathological processes which can lead to bipolar mood disorder in the context, of course, of the gene, of the protein, which we are studying right now.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Apart from neuroscience, you have also worked in cancer. So how does this cancer step move towards the brain? How did this journey went from cancer to the neuroscience?
No, I do not treat it as a journey, right? It's rather the continuity of doing science.
Yeah.
From the very first look, it might be quite difficult to find any connection between the oncology or the cancer cell biology and psychiatry, neurology, neurobiology. However, it's quite simple, we can use our knowledge which we gathered based on the cancer cell biology in neuroscience and in neurology clinics as well, because right now it's quite well known that, for example, the activity of the particular brain circuits within the brain can affect the cancerous cell in the closest vicinity to this pathway. I'm talking about the glioma cells, for example, which develops differently if the particular part of the brain in which the cancer is located is active or when it's inactive. So this is the, let's say, clinical example. But in science, for example, thanks to cancer cell biology, we know quite a lot of different molecular pathways which are engaged in the cancerogenesis process. The pathways engaging, for example, Wnt signaling pathway, or engaging GSK3 beta protein, which is somewhere in the middle of particularly each of the signaling pathways within the cell, or nestin signaling pathway. We know they are engaged in the cancerogenesis process. However, thanks to them, we can, for example, culture pluripotent stem cells and differentiate them into neurons. On the other hand, for example, the different transcriptional factors, right, like p53 or P10 protein, these are well-known proteins also playing a role during the cancerogenesis. But on the other hand, we quite well know that the very same proteins are important for some neurodegenerative diseases. So it's all somehow interconnected, right? And that's why that's my point of view on not only on biology, but all the science. Each of us should be quite open-minded and just gather knowledge to use it in the future, right?
That's well said. Speaking of scientists, they don't only do research, right? They also do grant writing, paper writing, journals, and everything, right? You have been active member of many editorial boards, right? Would you like to tell us more about it? What were those journals? Are you still doing it? How do you see it as a career pathway?
This is a very important part of the career because we all should participate in each other's work, right? We have to. I'm trying to avoid using the word we should controlling each other, but we should somehow maybe validate other scientists' work, right? To make sure that this is the science and the data of the best quality.
Yes.
And because of that, it can be published and serve other scientists and basically the civilization, right? So right now I am in the editorial board of the Journal of Bioengineering, for example. However, I do peer reviews for a lot of different journals from the publishing offices like Wiley, like MDPI, etc., etc. This reviewing process is very important, really, for each scientist. You will be doing as well in the future.
Hopefully.
Yeah. It's crucial. It's very important, especially now when basically everyone can publish everything on the internet, right? So we have to be sure that the science we do is validated, cross-checked by another scientist, and this is the science of the best quality ever possible that is being published for the world, for all of us, right? Because our well-being, our health depends on it, right?
That's true.
So that's why we have to be sure that this is basically the best knowledge we can give to the population, to the people.
I like it. Okay, so now moving toward the second part of this discussion.
Okay.
About your interests and hobbies. You have quite a lot of them, I see.
Oh, goodness.
You are writer, fictional writer, right? You have written one book, Compania Sheni, if I'm pronouncing it right.
You pronounce it quite okay.
And this book has been nominated for prestigious Yaidil Award, which is well known here in Poland.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us about this book? What is it about?
Yeah, about this particular book.
And your interest in writing. What do you write?
Well, let me start with a short introduction. Basically, I don't like seeing myself as a writer because in my way of understanding things, writer is a very big word, right? It's very serious. I am in the very beginning of this process, so basically, I am the author, and let's close the subject, okay? So maybe one day, or I will become a writer, but right now just...
Why not to manifest it?
Maybe there will be time for that, okay?
Yes.
There will be time. So basically, I like to write very much, and my work can be divided somehow into two, let's say, subpopulations, two groups. So the first one is the medical fiction and science fiction books, the novels, and the second group is the pure fantasy, like George Martin's, like John Tolkien's, like Ursula Le Guin's. So this typical classical fantasy books. I like it very much, and it's somehow, it relaxes me simply to create. This is the similarity between our work and this hobby, because at work we also create things.
Exactly.
Right? So, but there are a lot of differences. However, my way of thinking, my maybe scientific background is of great advantage during the writing process. To be honest, it helps to structurize things, especially in the second group of novels in fantasy, because there is a lot of different plots, a lot of different characters. So just you have to remember who is where in and when. Did this particular character met the another one or not yet? So you have to keep it in mind all the time. And this way of scientific thinking somehow helps. But in this another group of novels, this medical fiction, science fiction, well, it's a great advantage, right? I do not have to do research. I just can take out of my mind an idea and just develop it, right? For the plot line, and at the very end to simply surprise the reader, because this is the value of reading, right? So you see something which you didn't expect to see at the very end of the novel. So this is the value of it. And about this particular book, which were nominated to Seidel Award, well, I was really happy about this, that it happened, this nomination, because it means a lot to me and to my publisher as well. Because the authors, Polish authors, like, for example, Andrzej Sapkowski, the author of The Witcher, was awarded with this Seidel Award. So just being nominated to this award is really, really something fantastic and great. And it somehow simply shows that the work which I do while writing has been seen, right?
Yeah.
It was somehow appreciated by the committee, and that's why there was this nomination. And this particular book is the fourth part of the series of this book, so I would have to tell you everything what happened in the three previous parts to maybe familiarize you with the fourth one, right? So maybe we will do it up.
Sure. But do you have any upcoming book?
This year, hard to say. This year already we published 3 novels authored by me. There is a possibility that there will be the 4th this year. So the 4th book this year can be the 5th part of this fantasy series.
Okay.
But it depends. We will see. Maybe it will be the next year. So there is no pressure, absolutely. I will take it however it will be.
Sure.
But there is also some short stories which has been published in the anthologies. But this is a totally different kind of work, because writing a big novel is in many ways simpler than writing a short story.
Really?
Of course, because in a big novel, you can just write. You do not have to limit yourself to, let's say, 10, 15 or 12, 20 pages, right? You can do the 1,000 pages long story, and you can put everything you want there. And here you are very limited in terms of space. That's why you have to be really, really precise.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving forward, apart from writing, you also play music instruments.
I'm trying to.
What are those that you are interested in? And how are playing music instrument help you in scientific thinking? Or do you play instrument while thinking about research, and this how it really...
Oh, that's a tricky question, because you know as well as me that we always think about our work and about science itself, right? You can be at work physically and doing experiments, but when you are home after work, you do the dishes after the dinner and thinking, oh, why this experiment didn't work, right? So unfortunately, in mind, we are always at home, at work.
Yeah.
it has pros and cons because it seems it presents our how to say it determination in doing science, right? That we are very persistent in the process, which is good. But for doing science, you also need to have a fresh mind. And for refreshing your mind, you from time to time need to relax a little bit. And music helps with it. So, as well listening to music as simply doing music, so playing instruments. For me, it's basically the electrical guitar. I have also violin. I have piano. We have drums at home also. Sometimes it's getting quite difficult to play at these instruments because right now we have 2 cats, so they are very interested in things they should not be.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Okay. So we talked about your fictional writing, we talked about your music, and I came to know you speak several languages as well.
Now, let's say I speak fluently in 2, but I'm trying to get to know more.
How do you see connection between learning different languages and neuroscience? Like, how does neuroscience of your brain influence your capability of learning language?
This is a very broad topic. We can talk about it like for hours, really, because we have to discuss all the cortical area which are responsible for the processing of the our inner speech and our external speech, because you talk to yourself in your mind, right? And this is your inner speech. And each person has different inner speech, because for ourselves, there is only I for myself, right? In my brain.
Yes.
So processing the sounds which come to you from the outside, it requires different regions of the brain than processing your own inner speech. But learning different languages is, for me, it's quite interesting as a biologist, because from my point of view, that the way the language was changing during the history somehow reflects the evolution process. And the evolution process is the process we know very well as scientists and as biologists. So you have the common ancestor from which different species or different languages can branch, right? So, for example, Polish language belongs to the family of Indo-European languages, right? So we somehow have something in common. The language from India, the language from Poland, we have the common ancestor. For example, let's say Latin, right? How Latin evolved to get birth to Italian language, to Spanish language, to Portuguese language, to French. There are a lot of different similarities between all of these languages, but there are also a lot of differences between them. For example, Portuguese has a lot of influences from the Africa, right? Because in the way the history created the language, right? Yeah. So this is the way I am looking at learning languages. I'm just trying to search similarities, differences, which is quite fascinating when you take into consideration, for example, the Finnish language from Finlandia and Hungarian languages. When you take a look on the map, these 2 countries are quite far away from each other. However, these 2 languages belong to the very same family of Ugro-Finnish languages, together with Japanese, you can believe me or not.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some similarities. So I like to see learning different languages in a scientific way. I like to look at the process in a scientific way, just searching connections between different languages. And right now, I return to French right now.
Okay.
I had a period of Czech language. Yeah. It lasted maybe for half a year, something like that.
So you know it now?
No, I don't. Czech is really similar to Polish language. So we can communicate these two nations without knowing each other's language. So that's not a problem. However, it's funny. Just I am doing it for fun. learning languages itself. But now I am back into French.
Okay. Well, indeed, this is quite interesting, the way languages are connected and the neuroscience behind them. Right. Okay. Let's not spend more time in it. Maybe we can have another podcast for that. Before I move to our next section.
Is the next section?
It is not going to take that much time. I would like to ask you, how do you manage to spend your time with your so many hobbies, also with, and along with that, lot of research work? How do you manage your time?
It's quite simple.
Tell us.
It's very simple. You just sleep really short.
Whoa. I think that's not the advice anyone should take. Especially we don't recommend it. Sleeping less.
Yep.
Okay.
Of course, I am not doing all of the things, the very same day, right?
Yeah.
There is some, I'm trying to share my pleasures between different days in the week, right? But to be honest, writing, I'm trying to write every day.
Okay.
I'm trying to write every day just to keep my mind focused on the plot line, which is being developed right now by me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so do you have some advice, some pieces of advice for young scientists who have...
you?
Maybe. Who want to combine different disciplines, let's say, with research?
Well, basically, they have to combine different disciplines. Neuroscience itself is very broad.
Yeah.
Because you can see neuroscience at the genetical level, at the molecular level, at the cell biology level, the tissue level, the brain level, the behavioral level. So right now we are in the entire organism.
Yeah.
And even in the level of the populations, psychology, evolutionary psychology, for example, as well. So neuroscience itself is very interdisciplinary. So each candidate which would like to belong to the family of neuroscientists, well, just being open-minded is of the greatest value for such a candidate, right? You have to search really different approaches, combine them, compare them, and based on that, create your own ideas, your own hypotheses, and just do science, right?
Yeah. And I think being open-minded applies to, I guess, all kind of research, or it doesn't matter which discipline they are in, right?
That's right. However, there are scientists, for example, which study, let's say, for example, ribosomes, okay?
Yeah.
So there is, comparing to neuroscience itself, studying ribosomes is quite, it's not so broad, it's not so wide, right? Because you have the translation, transcription process, translation process, the structure of the ribosome itself, and some regulatory processes. So you are quite limited, right? You can specialize yourself in a particular organelle or protein or process and study it. There is no wrong with that. It's also a good way of doing science. And we are doing it, right? Even in neurosciences, it's impossible to cover with your mind each area of neuroscience. You can be a behaviorist and study animals, and you can be an anatomist and study the brain structure, or you can study the development of the brain, right?
Yeah.
So we are specializing. However, as you said, right, open-minded always as possible.
Yeah, and it's important.
Definitely.
Okay, before we close this podcast, we also have this quick fire round. It's a fun game.
Vent fire.
No, I'm not gonna fire you. So I will give you option, and you have to tell me what do you like the most.
So I will have options.
Yes, just two.
Change for good, okay.
So shall we start?
Oh, definitely.
So what do you prefer, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Poster presentation or oral presentation?
Both are good.
Mm-hmm. Western blot or confocal microscope?
Never Western blot.
Beer after a long day or playing guitar to unwind?
No, definitely playing a guitar.
Mm-hmm. writing a grant application or reviewing a manuscript? What do you prefer?
Again, both are good.
Yeah.
However, preparing the grant application is much more engaging, I would say.
Okay. So what do you like? Working with mouse model or primary neuronal culture? Both are actually coming from mouse.
That's true. It's safer for me to say that I prefer the in vitro studies.
Yes. Okay, so next is conference networking or focused bench work?
The second one.
Focused bench work.
Focus bench.
You want to avoid people.
You said that. But that's true.
Okay, next is qPCR or immunohistochemistry, but yeah.
qPCR can be tricky. You know about it.
Yeah.
So maybe it was immunoreaction, immunohistochemistry. Yeah, immunohistochemistry.
I think 9th one I already know, but let's have it for you. Early morning in the lab or late night writing sci-fi?
You know when I came to work, so...
But I guess after going back, you are writing. So
that's correct.
Both for you.
So from one work to another work. Extra work, yeah.
Last one.
Okay.
First author paper or nomination for another fiction award?
Being nominated to any award based solely on me, because I'm the author, I'm writing, right? And being the first author in the manuscript, in the paper, it comes from the group work, right? From a teamwork. So I would appreciate much more being the first author of the manuscript, right? Because it would mean that we accomplish something as a team, not only me as myself.
So it stands here. Thank you, Shemet, for sharing your research experience with us, your creativity and curiosity with us.
I tried to do my best.
It meant really a lot to have you here. I hope you also had good time with us.
I always do.
Okay, thank you so much once again, and thank you for watching us. If you like our podcast, do like it, subscribe our channel, and in comment let us know what you prefer and who you prefer to see with us next. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Subscribe. Another way Ila will find you and you will see.
Thank you for watching and see you in the next episodes.